Hi, this is the Love Guru Blaire, and welcome to the Awakened Warrior. Oh, Warriors Unite! This is a show where I talk about current news stories and give my spiritual and psychological take on it, all for the purpose of awakening, educating, enlightening, and empowering the collective. So welcome, guys. Like I said, my name is the Love Guru Blaire, and I can be reached at loveguru.net if you'd like to learn more about me. This is my second broadcast that I'm doing wearing my bathrobe. Isn't that very exciting? I just love being in my bathrobe, which I think I shared in my last video that I was in my bathrobe. It's just very cozy. And, you know, as I share with you guys, too, I'm up in the Northeast now, and I'm coming from South Florida, and it's chilly. It's chilly, so I want to just be cozied up. So today we're talking about how the New Age movement is the New World Order. And actually, isn't that a little silly to be saying the New Age movement? Because there is no New Age movement. Again, what's going on is that our society, humans, our world, our collective is evolving. We're all evolving. It's not like some people are spiritual and some people are religious or some people are nothing. It's a realization, it's an evolution of humanity, an understanding that we are all spiritual, that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, that we all have a spiritual nature, we all have a spiritual side. So this is coming more in the mainstream now. People are coming more to the understanding, to the awakening that this is how we are, that our beings are changing. We're becoming more crystalline. So first off, I want to give a shout out to this guy who posts on a couple of my videos, Jake Smith, because this has to do based on his comment on my last video. And that inspired this. But it's very similar to things that I have been talking about before. But I'm going to be presenting it in a little bit of a different way now, because like I shared, with each video, there's new realizations that I get, there's new kind of downloads I get from the universal knowledge base, and then that's what I share with you guys. So what is this New Age movement, or what does the whole New Age thing mean? Basically, what is being ushered into our world is a state of peace, of love, of harmony, a state of heaven on earth. That is what we are moving into. Now, a lot of people, if you're into like the spiritual stuff, if you have done any readings, a lot of people in the spiritual community talk about how we're entering the fifth dimension, how we have stepped into the fifth dimension. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody is in the fifth dimension now. It is a process that we all step into. I am living in the fifth dimension. You can be the judge of whether you are or not. Most people are in the third dimension, okay? Or in other dimensions, in lower dimensions. And basically what that means is just your awareness. Your state of consciousness, your state of vibration, where you are looking at the world, how you're looking at the world. And also it has a lot to do with how much healing work you've done and how it has transformed your life. So a main thing about living in the fifth dimension is living from your heart. Again, I kind of touched on this the last video too. I predominantly live my life out of my heart, from guidance, from my intuition, rather than my thinking brain. Again, most of us in society, we are trained to be logical, to be able to run everything through our mind, and things need to make sense, and that's how we make decisions. So being in the fifth dimension, you're operating out of your heart, out of your intuition, what feels right, and you're going off of that. And again, it's a learning curve. As I shared also in other videos, my mind is very well developed. I do have a master's degree, which is advanced training of my mind, plus I happen to just be a very analytical person even before I had the training of like college and then graduate school. So it's a process of bringing the thought processes from my head into my heart. And that's a big sum up of it. But basically the main thing here to understand is that we are moving into a space of love, of peace, of heaven on earth. Now, our journey getting there, when you are doing healing, there's going to be a lot of chaos going on. So that's what we're seeing in the world right now. A lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. That is the step that we go through, that we have to go through, because it's a tearing down of the old to bring us into the new. Again, New World Order. So this is where we're going as humanity. All right, it's not like someone with some kind of evil plan has come up with this, oh, let's move into love, peace, and heaven on earth. And that's not even an evil plan. That is just, that's beautiful, right? Moving into love, peace, for all of us to understand that we all are one, that we're all connected, to have compassion for one another, to have empathy, to have sensitivities towards one another. Well, again, so that's where we're moving into. So people who are in the new age, who are spiritual like me, well, we're all part of this movement, if you want to call it that. Really what it is we are the forerunners, we're the way showers for other people, the mainstream of like, hey, this is where we're going, we're showing the way. Because how do we know the way? Well, we're following our intuition. Again, we're getting downloads from the Creator, from Spirit, from God, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. Now, here's the thing about the New World Order, which I think probably I talked about in my last video, but I think there was maybe some confusion going on, because that confusion was me, again, sorting out things. But there is always, whenever there's something in this world, because we're living on Earth, there is duality. So with the New World Order, there is the light side of the movement. Again, it's not even a movement. I hate using that word with this, but there's light and there's dark. So there's the light side of the New World Order. There's those that are in the light, and there's the dark. So in the last video, I was talking about how there's like 2 New World Orders, and I was like, this New World Order and that New World Order. It really is, there's the light and there's the dark of the New World Order. Whether you like it or not, we are all moving into the New World Order. It is time for us as humanity to shift, to change, to evolve. It is happening, okay? You either get on the boat or you don't. Well, you're going there anyway. So you either go educate yourself and you positively step into that and you be part of the good energy that is being brought in and you be part of that, or you can go kicking and screaming, which would really be more of the dark energy. Now, most people, when they talk about the Illuminati and these false flags and these hoaxes and all these things that the government wants to do and take away from our liberties and all these things, that is the dark side of the New World Order. That it comes from people who are operating really in the old way of being, which is out of fear. So when people are operating out of fear, they want to create chaos, they want to create destruction because they want to control. That's why they're doing these false flags. They want to control. They're afraid of where humanity may be going. Now, the New World Order in love and in light, as I shared before, is all about empowerment. All of us becoming more connected to our intuition, all of us being more aware that we're spiritual beings, all of us raising our vibration. Now, what does that mean when you raise your vibration? First off, when you do healing work, you become more and more of a clear channel to spirit, that you can hear the guidance, you could hear the intuition, and you know which direction to be led. So you know how, I'm sure you've heard this story on how animals can sense when like maybe a major disaster is going to come, or like when the tsunami hit, on how they like ran up into the hills or the mountains or something like that, like they just run away, they know when things are happening. Well, that's because they're very connected to spirit. They're one. They're a pure channel. Well, it's the same thing with humans, that when you do that healing work, you're more and more of a clear channel to spirit, to God. And that's why it's very important for you to consciously go through healing. Now, why do humans have to go through healing and not necessarily like animals? Well, first off, if animals are abused, they do have to go through healing. But all humans are pretty much abused when they come into this world through experiences, through their family, through their childhood, through different things that happen in their lives. It skews the way that humans look at life, and it's not a clear channel. So we end up operating a lot out of fear. So when you go through healing, you end up operating more and more out of love. Now, what made me really think about this again today was I was out at the library, and what happened was I was just sitting looking up something, and I turned around, and this little kid, this boy, came running up to me. And he went to go hug me, and like he just went to go like grab my legs, and then he like laid down and was like hugging me. And I look at him, and he was just so enchanting, and he was a crystal child. And what has been happening is that first off, I have the gift, I have many gifts, but one of my gifts is that I'm able to recognize indigo children. Or indigo adults. I'm an indigo, and when I came to the understanding that I was an indigo, because I didn't always know I was an indigo, when I came to that understanding, and I've made videos about this, you can go back in the archives, as I started developing this more and accepting who I was and things like that, Spirit has been, and this is like recent stuff too, I think you can look at back over my alien videos, because that's when this stuff came out more, because it was a realization and knowing that I am here to guide, and one of the many things I'm here to do is to guide and teach other indigos. And that's another word for warrior, okay? So I'm able to recognize other indigos, and Spirit brings other indigos to me so that they can learn from me, so I can learn from them, so I can help them heal. Because okay, so there's a lot to talk about here, all right? So just stay tuned, because we're going to get into all of it here in 1 second. So I started recognizing indigos because we have a different vibration, we have a different way of looking at the world. So the next generation after us, and I'm not necessarily saying that you're an indigo. I'm just kind of saying the next generation after the indigos is crystal children. And what Spirit has been doing a lot over the last couple months too is bringing a lot of crystal children around me. And they are the most enchanting kids. I love them. I love being around their energy. I can stare at them forever. They can stare at me forever. And it's just like this kind of telepathy communication. Again, they're just so enchanting. So this boy came over, and I told him, then his mother came over to kind of get him, and I told her, I was like, you know, you have a crystal child here. It's really exciting, like, and really special, and like, congratulations, because I think it's an honor to have a crystal child. And then her other two kids came over too, and they were all crystals. I was like, oh my God, you have 3 boys that are crystals. And she was like, what is that? And blah, blah, blah. And when I went home, I went to go look up what a crystal child was again, because I know what it is, but I seem to always keep on going back and like reading up about it, because I always like see different things, and I'm still like learning about it too, but I just can recognize their energy frequency, and their energy is like really high. And that feels really good to me. Like my heart was so activated around them. And again, you feel as they all came around, the energy just rose. Like it got like 10 times stronger. And what really stuck out to me this time when I was reading, and this goes back to the New World Order, okay, we're going to tie it back together. But what stuck out to me today when I was reading about crystal children again was how crystal children are here to teach us about that we're all one, that they really are here to usher in like peace and harmony and like oneness. And what's going on here with this New World Order, again, this is just kind of a way that our world is evolving. I'm not going to just say, it's not just in America, it's every country, it's everywhere on this planet. We're all evolving. We're all understanding that we're all connected, whether you're in that country or that country or that country. We're all the same or similar types of people. So the indigos are here like the first wave to be bringing in this New World Order. And what are the indigos here to do? Well, we're here to bring down the establishment. We're here to be bringing down, to be shaking the system, to be changing the way that things are done. And it's not just a bringing up chaos for the sake of bringing chaos. It's that we have intuitions, we have insights. Again, we're very gifted individuals, we're very sensitive individuals, we're individuals that have a knowing of things and how they should be. It's very much this is how it should be kind of thought. And there's an intuition of how things should be, and the way that things are right now, we don't understand. We have a really hard time of fitting into establishments. Now again, before I knew this about myself, I always rattled people. I always would be around others and notice things, open my mouth and say things, and then like I would upset people. Okay? And if you're an indigo, then you can maybe relate to this. You tend to be more of a loner. Like I hang out with myself all the time. I hang out with my dog all the time. I really enjoy hanging out with myself. I find myself hilarious and the wisest person I know. Which is funny because I think it's funny, but also it's funny because if you're an indigo, you think you're super wise too. All right? So, okay, so we are here, and so I would always like rattle things. Like even when I went back to school in graduate school, I just like really stirred the pot, like with my professors, and then like certain school policies. I was like on my soapbox about things. I mean, talk about using your energy in like all random places where, again, most people would say, why are you bothering with that? I'd be like, because it matters. It's the principle. You know, it's always about the principle. I'm always fighting for the principle of things. And again, if you're an indigo, you can relate to that too, because it's always about the principle. It's about doing what's right. It has to be in integrity. And we'll spend our time doing that, like writing letters, suing people, or trying to be changing certain policies. I don't know. I have like crazy stories of things that I would say I used to do, but I still do it. I was recently just fighting the system on something. With the place that I moved out of, I was just fighting the system with them because they were doing ridiculous things. Like things don't make sense to me on how people do stuff. So that's an indigo thing. So we are here really to like rattle the system. We have anger. We're very fiery people. We have very strong personalities, and that's all done by design because again, we are here really to like be pushing forward, to be forcing ourselves forward, because it's not just like, it's not about our agenda. This is really about spirit working through us of like how things, the right way things should be, doing things in integrity, doing things in honesty, doing things that make sense, you know, doing what's right for humanity, things like that. So, so I have come to understand my gift rather than being like, Blaire, you know, settle down, because that's what my family members would always say to me. That's what friends would always say to me. Stop that. You're wasting your energy. Why are you spending time doing that? You know, do something else. Or like, you know, I would go off on a story about something that I was, oh, it's ridiculous on how they do that, or stupid policies or whatever. And it would always be like, you know, my mom's like a major player with this, rolling her eyes, not wanting to hear it, that type of thing. And that, again, is a lot of stuff that like indigos run up against, is people around us not being supportive. And that's the beauty of us finding our gift. But we are, so here, with the New World Order, indigos are here to rattle the system, to break down and to challenge old ways of thinking, and to bring in the new. Now, the next phase of this New World Order is that these crystal kids work as a collective, because a lot of times indigos work on their own. Like I said, remember, we're usually loners. So the crystal kids come in, and then they work as a collective to establish this and to really stabilize the peace and the love and the healing energy that the indigos have brought in. Like, basically the indigos have like brought down the system, and then the crystal children kind of smooth it out. So it's a complicated process, I guess. It's complicated, but it's also not. But this is the New World Order that is in love. All right? That's in love, meaning that we're operating out of the good of all, for the good of all. That's what we're helping usher in the changes for. We work for God. We work for spirit. All right? This became very clear to me over the last year or so. I'm not working at a, like, there are certain things that Blaire wants, but this is to benefit the whole. And all the guidance that I get to share is, again, to benefit humanity. So that's who we're here. We're here on a special mission, Indigos. We're here working for spirit. That's what our lives are dedicated to, humanity, whether we like it or not. Because a lot of times, you know, I've shared with you guys, I've been through experiences that I'm like, I fucking hate people, and I go through that a lot, less and less these days. But that was one of the things that I have had to heal through, and a lot of that had to do with things on where I was wounded, and I was just establishing bad relationships, and it was bad patterning from my childhood of what was acceptable and what was not acceptable. So that is, so this whole change, and also the thing is, indigos need to go through healing. Definitely. Otherwise, you're going to be a wounded healer, and you're going to have the same corruption that we're seeing with this Illuminati, with this elite. The crystal children, I don't think they need to go through healing. The next generation that we have, they're not going to have to go through healing. At least this is what my feeling is on it, my intuitions, my impressions, because they are such clear channels. They have such high vibration. And that's why when I'm around them, my heart is just fluttering, activated. It feels amazing. I want to be around them. And most of the time, these crystal children have a much higher vibration than their parents, and also have a much higher vibration than most of humanity. Now, so I love being around them, and it's my intention really in moving forward in my new beginning that I have been having, because as I shared with you guys, I've healed through everything. I'm doing some little cleanup now having to do with family members, but as I move into my new beginning, I am going to be surrounding myself with those who are in the same vibration as me or higher, because up until this point, and of no fault of anyone except for probably myself, is that most of the people I'm surrounded by, that I have been surrounded by, have lower vibration than me. And so, I mean, maybe these crystal kids want to be my friends because they have a higher vibration. It just feels so amazing. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. So that is the New World Order in love. Now, the New World Order out of fear is, again, what people say, the Illuminati, the elite, those who do these false flags. As I've shared before also, Illuminati, that word needs to be taken away from the New World Order that works in fear, the fear people. And it needs to come on the indigo children, on the crystal children, because we're the Illuminati. What's Illuminati mean? Illuminated ones. Okay? Again, once you go through healing, you become an illuminated one. After I went through my healing, my guide said to me, Blaire, you're enlightened now. You're an enlightened master. And I was like, what? Really? That's kind of ego-driven. They were like, no. You're enlightened now. That's what happens when you heal. You become a clearer channel. So I am part of the Illuminati, but I always have to share that with a kind of a clarification, a definition, an explanation of what that is. We're taking back that word. That is people who are masters, who are healed, are the illuminated ones. All right? That's like Gandhi, that's like the great masters, Jesus, Buddha, Princess Diana, Martin Luther King. So these are the people who were the enlightened one, the illuminated ones. That's our word. That's the definition for us. That's not the ones in fear. They would like you to call them the Illuminati, the illuminated ones. They're not. They think that they are because they're busy controlling things, but they're controlling out of fear. Whereas the New World Order, or this New Age movement, if we want to move back to that, well, we're the ones who are raising the vibration, we're the ones who are empowering, and we're the ones who are going to win. We're taking back this world and we're bringing it into a heaven on earth. That's what the New World Order is. Heaven on earth. Now, there's intricacies and there's details to work out as far as this oneness, because technically we should all have one system of government. Technically, we should all have one system of currency. Because again, we are all one. We don't need that separation anymore. We don't need the boundaries. Even with like countries, we should all just be one. We don't need that separation anymore. So again, there's going to be changes that are coming about, which I fully support, but I do understand the fear that's there of that, well, that's how a Hitler can come into play and take over, whatever. That is operating out of fear. That is the old paradigm. That's the New World Order out of fear. So there's things to work out. There's little kinks to work out. But phase one of this is that the vibration of everybody or many people needs to rise, needs to elevate. And as I've shared in many of my videos in the past, is what are you doing to raise your consciousness? What are you doing to elevate your life? What are you doing to heal yourself? Because you can study whatever spiritual stuff you want to study. You can read whatever religious stuff you want to read. But it comes down to me, if we're having this conversation, it comes down to healing. How are you healing your heart? Which is your emotions? Which is your childhood experiences? How are you healing that? The abuses that you've been through. Most of our population has been through emotional abuse. How are you healing that? And if you're not, then you're not part of the solution. You can come along for the ride. You're kind of coming along for the ride of evolution. But why not be one of the people who's actively, consciously doing these things? Why don't you be one of the people who's one of the forerunners, who's one of the leaders? Don't you want to be a leader? Yes, you're supposed to say, yes, yes, I want to be a leader. Well, if you want to be a leader, you need to be in the forefront of healing yourself. How are you doing that? You're not going to heal yourself by reading a book. I'm sorry, no can do. All right, that'll get you to a certain point, but the way that you accelerate your healing, the way that you clean out those cobwebs is you work with a healer. You could work with me, you could work with somebody else. You work with a healer. Not all healers are the same. I'm the best, of course. But you work with a healer that guides you, that has a higher vibration than you, that has done healing themselves, that can lead the way. That is how, yes, I've been in healing for healing my stuff since 2006. I took the accelerated path when a healer came into my life. And when I say that, it wasn't like she knocked on my door. It wasn't like I went out looking for her. It was that God brought her into my life. How was that? Well, I was having a conversation with someone who was a business associate, and she was saying, I'm going to have an awesome year this year. I have a coach. I have a business. Well, no, she had a coach, which was a business thing. I have a coach. I have a something else. I have an intuitive healer. And I was like, what? Intuitive healer? What the hell is that? And she was like, I don't know how to explain it, but this lady works magic, and you have to speak to her. You have to just have the experience. And I was like, okay, because I've always been the curious one, and I follow the signs because that's a sign. It came up. It was interesting to me. And I said, okay. And she gave me her information, and I gave her a call, and we set up a session. And after that, I was hooked. I worked with this lady. Every month I had a session for 3 years. And over the 3-year period, as time went on, I would have sessions every 2 weeks. I was her best client. I by far accelerated with her. She never admitted it because I think it was a little bit of an ego thing, but I was booking sessions all the freaking time. Because what happens is you discover things about yourself that are just absolutely fascinating. And it wasn't all like roses and butterflies and rainbows and fairies. It was like deep, hardcore stuff. But it was so like kind of Twilight Zone and magical and mystical. I just had never experienced anything like that. I would have like incredible aha moments and insights and understandings of why things were in my life and the gifts that came out of it. And then I would have like the darkest hours I would go through, that I would be crying, I would be confused, I would be lost, I would be dazed and confused, minus the weed, if you know that that movie. And then I would be back on a high, and it was incredible. And what happens is when you're healing those layers and you're clearing away those old paradigms, those old ways of seeing things, the old ways of understanding things, your perspective shifts and these new things open up. It's very hard to explain, but I was hooked. So like I said, I worked with her for 3 years on an ongoing basis, monthly, then bi-monthly, and I might have actually worked with her for 4 years. And then I took a little bit of a break because I got into a relationship, and then I needed support through that relationship. So I started working with her again, and then I started working with other healers and whatever. So I went through this process. So it took maybe like 7-8 years to come to the enlightened space. But along the way, my life just blossomed and opened up, and my psychic gifts came out. That's when I became psychic along the way. And I always had that disposition. The gift was always there, but if it's untapped, and it's not about going to psychic development classes, because I've been to those. Again, when I went through healing, that's when everything opened up for me. Like now, I smell when angels are near. I hear things. I see things as in visions. I feel things. I have a knowing. All my psychic gifts are open. Before, it was like limited things at certain times. Now I'm in constant communication with spirit. I'm always talking to them. And I don't even know how or why I got into this conversation with you. But I just go where I'm guided. So maybe you or maybe somebody else needed to hear what I had to share today. But going back to our main topic here, this is what the New World Order is. It's a world of love and peace and heaven on earth and happiness and doing things that you love, doing things that you're passionate about, not a struggle through life, not about hustle and bustle. It's really, for me, the biggest lesson these days is not about what I'm going to do from day to day. It's who I'm going to be from day to day. And I have a lot of space and silence and time to just be. And I have to think every day, well, what do I want to do? What would make me happy? And again, Spirit keeps on saying, just be, just be. And what happened? Well, you know, I went to the library and I had this magical meeting with this lady who I was meant to meet. We have some business connections going on there that may turn into something, and I was meant to deliver a message to her about her special kids because she needs to raise them in a special way because they are gifted. Those crystal children are sages. They come in with huge wisdom and just a knowingness, a wise. They're like, again, like they're little Buddhas that come in. They come in with great knowledge. They don't have to go through the struggle, the healing that indigos have to, that the generations before. They come in clear channels. So thanks for watching. Let's welcome in this new world order the loved one. And if you feel fear about it, well, then that's a signal, hello, that's a sign, hello, that you need to do healing. If you are still operating in the fear of these things, that's a sign that you're in the old paradigm of fear, not love. Lots of things to think about. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.